So in the last video, I mentioned something somewhat more in depth that I've mentioned a couple times throughout the years, revolving around how music. Well, no, I didn't. I kind of did, but not really. I mentioned how multiple personalities can write songs for you, even do art for you, or really when you split at different points in your life, you can do art sometimes and you can't. Especially due to this conversation I had with a possible human being that definitely had some similar stuff going on to me, and I told them that what they were describing was DID, and that's why they can't do art anymore and stuff, because it was probably one of the splits that could actually do art and not, I guess, maybe their core self. And I personally used to be able to draw a long time ago, but not anymore. But then also, after the whole drugging thing happened, when the Cash for Kids system stuff started, I wasn't able to do a lot of things anymore after that. Like with the brain damage and different stuff after that, I couldn't even ride a bike anymore. So, yeah. And then also my health got really bad after a while, so that was another reason I couldn't do some stuff. But I couldn't draw anymore, but I still feel like that was really due to the split stuff. But I also wasn't interested in some of the things I used to be anymore, so I couldn't play games anymore. Honestly, playing games by myself was really boring anyways, but I just didn't have the attention span or the vision for it, and it really just gave me a headache. But it was still kind of sucky though, because that used to be a really bad coping mechanism. I remember when I was a lot younger, early elementary age, I would cycle back and forth with sex addiction and game addiction, really both, because sometimes that goes hand in hand, unfortunately. But yeah, so after that, I couldn't do a lot of things anymore. I'm not even good at games anymore and haven't been in a long time, but I just can't dissociate into that. Kind of stopped at 10 because when I moved with my mom the first time, I couldn't really have anything because my siblings were allowed to break all my stuff, or my mom would break all my stuff, and I usually didn't have a TV either, or a space to really play it. But I can say though, one thing I've learned a lot is that when it comes to different addictions, the best thing you could do is be in a situation where you can't do it. That's one thing I've learned. So, what was the point though? Oh yeah, so maybe before the evidence channels, or maybe on the evidence channels, one of those, I think more so before, I talked about how one of the points of music is to either initiate you into different demonic kingdoms, and to put spirits in you or cast spells on you, really both. And of course for mind control, or to appeal to spirits you already have. So one of my favorite examples revolves around sexual trauma, or just family dysfunction in general that leads to sexual issues, or generational marine spirits. And then you'll probably like music and media made by people who are under beta sex kitten programming, including dudes in the feminine thug persona who are also under beta sex kitten programming. And they all go through Virgo Vasal rituals, because that's just how these different groups in the industry and stuff works. I mean, you can't even really become a politician, even a lower level one, or even go through a lot of the Freemason police brotherhood stuff without going through Virgo Vasal. That's everywhere. So even the ones that haven't been through full-blown beta sex kitten programming have still been through Virgo Vasal. So of course the baby, Lil Wayne. Honestly, once I seen NBA YoungBoy with Birdman, the dude who took Lil Wayne through all the different torture starting at like 10. Not finally, but like I knew exactly where young boy got herpes from back in, what was that, like 2018? Because I think it was like around the whole thing with the no smoke, because that was one of his like first or second viral songs, I'm pretty sure. I never knew till I was just in Louisiana that young boy was from Louisiana. But I do remember finding out that Lil Wayne was from there. I'm pretty sure. But like I really noticed that because one, people talking about him, but also the whole little situation that I really feel like was some stage stuff to cause racial uproar. But the whole prison break thing with those couple of dudes in Louisiana, like the one dude with like the cultic face tattoos, when he was like, young boy, help me get out of here, something like that. And I was like, dang, I never thought that he was from Louisiana, but I guess I never really cared to find out. But yeah, anywho, who did I not mention? Well, obviously I didn't mention a lot of people. Megan Thee Stallion, of course Nicki Minaj. She full-blown had like all types of splits going on. Like, that was so obvious. I really feel like Nicki Minaj is probably one of the most obvious MPD people. Who was the other one? Oh my gosh, wait a minute. I mean, I could really name almost any of them, but there's one oh yeah, Kevin Gates. That dude. And in fact, when I was in Louisiana, some dude was like, I don't know what in the world he was on, but he was definitely a Marine Kingdom agent, and he like came up to me, and he was, well, no, this was way before he came up to me. He was singing some crazy mess. The usual little sexually perverse, chomo, predatory R&B type stuff. But then, like, eventually it started to get even weirder. And I was like, is he singing Kevin Gates? He was singing something about somebody hopping on top of a cop car butt naked, and something about somebody doing their 13-year-old niece on the back porch. And I was like, this sounds like some Kevin Gates type mess. But yeah, anywho, and unfortunately he grew up in foster care, and he had told me the story about how he had been on his own since he was 10. This is at the library. So yeah, it all made sense. But that's why I say, save yourself. CPS probably won't take you in, and they're not what you want to be in anyways. Or else, I don't know, I guess you're going to be hopping on top of a cop car butt naked. But yeah, then as a side note, the Ray Strimmer people. I remember there was this one video, this was after they had disappeared. There's this one video that came out, and all three of them were in this drop top with Birdman. And it's like, Like, to be truthfully honest, like, they did the whole Diddy thing. Of course, that's a distraction, not because anybody really cares. Like, I didn't even know that dude was still alive. I remember hearing stuff about him always. Like, always and forever. But Birdman, like, man, people, I don't even know. That's like, he's definitely worth talking about. And there's nothing good to say. What was the other thing? So yeah, anyways, the spirits attached to that music are supposed to, like, I don't know, just worsen your spiritual state when you already have these types of issues, pretty much. It's hard to really explain. And then another thing is that music is always spiritual, so pretty much every time you, like, make a song, you're putting your soul and whatever else is in you into the song. And so that's part of why, like, I really didn't even want to, like, make any more songs, because they weren't really, or at least some of them weren't, well, I don't know, because I have to either be mad or sad to even make a song. So I have to be splitting and, like, in a really bad situation. So I was like, I don't know if these are coming from a good place anyways. But so I've posted my songs a couple times, well, not all of them, but, like, some of the main ones. And I did, like, record them myself, so it's kind of hard to understand, and, like, in some of them, I was definitely sneaking to record it. Because I think I definitely recorded all of them, like, before I had escaped. So I was sneaking to record them because it was also, like, during a really bad point in time. And I was never allowed to have a phone anyways, but it was also, like, after, maybe even during the whole little CPS snitching about the 1,950 plus abuse evidence videos and, like, all that chaos that came after that. So I'm thinking about if I should start off with the scary ones or the funny ones that may also be scary. So I mentioned limerence in the last video. And somewhere, I don't know in what video, but I mentioned this one girl that I used to have a limerence obsession with. Well, not really, not as bad as like some other people, I guess. But she was some sort of an FP. This was back when I was 10. And I remember she would always tell me, "You don't love me, you love the idea of me." And I don't know what that means, but I wonder about it now, though. Because I recently remembered it. But, like, I made this song over one of the Minecraft, what is it called, OSTs? I can't remember which one, but if I remember, I'll put it in the description. This may have been, like, one of the main themes, but I don't know. And so it was, now I'm kind of nervous because it echoes in here. Can I stand by just to know you don't cry? And if I can we stand hand in hand? Because I love you. Do you love me too? And if you do, can we stand hand in hand? And the funny thing about it is that I wrote this song because she had the bipolar label, of course, but honestly, well, I don't like the label bull crap. Knowing what I know now, it definitely seemed like the usual thing of the sexist bipolar label being thrown on a molested kid, who honestly, also 9 out of 10 could definitely fit the autism label and the BPD label, which of course that goes hand in hand anyways a lot of the time when there's complex trauma. Because her dad was a police officer and he got shot. I don't know how her mom was, to be honest. I always assumed that her mom wasn't nice, but I don't know. But her dad got shot and he was a cop. She got molested by whoever, I think after her dad died. And then she fell into, like, a lot of stuff. And it's like, even with the issues I had, I always knew that, like, it was a spiritual issue from the trauma and neglect and the mommy issues. So I luckily never fell into this. But she fell into watching, like, those different little dudes on YouTube that would always either end up being racist or pedophiles or both. So Shane Dawson, Jacksepticeye, and honestly, he wasn't even as bad as the other ones. Nowhere near. Ray Charles? I know he was a makeup one, but I don't even think he was a Choma one. I think what was it? It was somebody else. It was someone else that was kind of like Ray Charles, but what was his name? Was it Jeffrey? Actually, no, hold on a minute. I think I'm thinking about somebody else. Or was it Jeffrey? Because, like, I don't know, because I think I see the face, but I can't remember the name. But I don't think it was Ray Charles. But was it Jeffrey? It was like, I don't know. But those types of dudes, pretty much. She liked all those dudes, and eventually, little by little, she would have to let all of them go. And also, like, she was like one of those liberal type social justice warriors. But I wouldn't say as bad as like the people on the West Coast are. Because this was in North Carolina. She wasn't as bad as like all the fake I'm a hero and I care so much. She wasn't all that bad, but it was still like, yeah. But one thing I noticed though is that the limerence was at its all-time worst. One, when I was even around people to even have limerence obsessions with. But also, like, when the neglect was worse. Like, I would say I didn't even have that bad limerence sessions when the abuse was, like, at an all-time high, because there was still, like, I don't know, I wasn't, like, being left at the house by myself for days at a time when the abuse was really bad. It was kind of like a too much watching, but that's when my limerence sessions were worse. But it was something else. Oh, yeah, and, like, I'm actually remembering or realizing right now that there were other points and times where I, like, had these obsessions with getting adopted, and it was definitely worse then, though. Like, I remember around this point in time, or at least I think it was around this point in time with this song or something like that. Actually, no, it was a little after that. Like, there was this one girl. She was honestly never somebody I had an FP with, for real. But she lived in my neighborhood at one point in time, and we did go to school together. She already didn't like me. And then, like, there's just this, like, really bad situation where, like, her and her mom wanted me to go to jail because I wanted her mom to adopt me because I didn't want to be at the house of my mom. And it reminds me of another situation at this point in time. It was like, I guess it was like a gym teacher. I only went to this school for like 3 months before things went downhill, but not with the school though, but like with my situation. And I wanted the gym teacher to adopt me, but she already didn't like me because this girl had not the girl from the poem, and the girl from the neighborhood. She had told the gym teacher whatever in the world about different things that I had done and supposedly had done in like elementary. This was like the little bit of 6th grade I did go to, so the 3 months. Yeah, and then that just made things worse. But I mean, I feel like the gym teacher was honestly pretty mean anyways. But yeah, that's a little bit I remember. And I feel like at these points in times, that's when the limerence was worse. But it's still kind of funny though, because I noticed that like the people that hated me the most for like the sexually acting out in elementary were people that I honestly never talked to, whose names I honestly didn't even know. And those are the people that like held grudges against me, the people that I honestly never did or said anything to. And that's actually really, really interesting to me. It always was and it still is. It's almost like they were just the relevant side people that wish I gave them some attention. Even if that sounds bad, but that's kind of what it seems like. Like, it even reminds me of like back in my Instagram quote era where I reposted this post and it said, when you start getting your life together, people start bringing up what you did in 3000 BC. But anyways. So there was this limerence obsession. What was I gonna say? So the next one, dang, this is already 18 minutes. I made this song when I was about, I guess, 8 or something, about my dad being possessed and getting the mark of the beast or something. They say my dad cost $1.50, but my dad told me that's slavery. I feel bad for my daddy, he's under control of the echo beast. East. They say my dad cost $1.50, but my dad told me that's slavery. Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but there was that. I don't know, so much weird stuff happened when we were living on top of that graveyard at my old quote-unquote stepmom's house. But the funny thing is, though, a lot of projects are built on top of cemeteries. Especially veterans memorials, because that's what this one was. And you could actually see, like, the gravestones in the backyard. I wrote this song when I was 12. This was when I went to the fake charter school. So this was before I moved with my mom. So before this last situation I mentioned with the gym teacher thing. So I was living with my grandma before she kicked me out again. Because the first time she kicked me out, I was 8. And then there was a couple other times. So this is a freestyle I did in class. And I think about it a lot, especially when I was in Cali. I actually remembered it then because I forgot all about it. And it was like, this actually makes me think about like how I'm living now. Because I was living in, or at least on the skirts of the Pogo Nips Mountain Forest in Santa Cruz. And so, it's a sad, sad world on the countryside. It's a sad, sad world, so open up your eyes. Golden train tracks to lead the way to a better world and a brighter place. It's a sad, sad world on the countryside. It's a sad, sad world. Just open up your eyes. I don't know where this came from, but like I said in the last video, I freestyle in my head like all day long, and I've been doing it for years, so yeah. But now I can't stop. Well, I couldn't stop, but that's actually how I made that, what was that? That I got banned for saying Destroy All Psychiatrists song. Because like I said, I wrote that while I was looking in the bathroom mirror, brushing my teeth one morning. And then it came to me, and I was like, I gotta hurry up and write this down before I forget. And then that's when I was like, I got banned for saying Destroy All Psychiatrists. I think it went something like this. I wrote my reply to my alliances. Something, 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 something. I don't care what science says. I was taught to only pay attention to what Simon says. I fought the lies that we all bought. That's what defiance is. I set fire to the base of pseudosciences. I don't really remember the rest. I have to look for it. I think I wrote it down somewhere. Then I made this somewhere around that time of the sad, sad world thing. You go to Forever 21, but I'm Forever 12. I'm not trying to go to jail. My dad don't ever pay my bill. I don't know, that was just whatever. This was, what was this? Like, I don't remember anything from age 13, but I guess this was 13. But I feel like it was probably also 12, one of those. I'm stabler than a horse's stable, rock the table laughing at Aesop's fables. There was more to that, but I don't remember the rest. Oh yeah, I remember this one. I made this at probably originally like 10. I wish that I could save them all, and if I could, I would not fall. I'd stand taller than the sky. With me, no one would ever cry. Something, 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 something. I don't know where this one came from, but I remember it was like based off some remix of some like line from a commercial. You know, I made most of these at like 8, but that's like in the beginning. The rest are at like 13, and like I said, I don't remember anything from age 13. And it's actually funny because I remember on the evidence channels, I had like 2 or 3 videos from 13 that I had found on one of my emails. This was on the part 1 channel before CPS had snitched about them in like sometime in 2022 and got some of the channels deleted. And I even remember saying that like I don't remember anything from the situations that I had videos of because I remember absolutely nothing from then. And I think it was more so because of the drugging than anything. But anyways, this was at about 8 or 9. You were filled with self-endeavor. You think you're very clever, and I just don't know why. And I just don't know why you got hit like I got hit, but they ain't pull up with the stick. Still don't think I got a brain. I don't know where that came from, though. I think most of them are just me being bored, but... Okay, wait a minute. But that's not even really what I'm looking for, though. I'm looking for the funny one. Because there was, like, this one that was funny enough to me. Oh, yeah. So, this was at 14. This was, like, during the part 1 channel. Maybe even a little, no. This is definitely during the part 1 channel. February 14th. So this was around the time of the crazy argument video where my dad was started manifesting and said that he'd been alive for over 5,000 years and that me and his girlfriend were trying to crucify him. And then she started speaking in tongues, and then there may be around the time of the videos where he was driving around trying to shoot somebody. I always forget about this, to be honest, because I used to have a playlist on the Part 1 to Part 4 channel titled Narcissist Gun Issues. And so that whole thing happened in like March or February, and then like after driving around trying to shoot somebody for a couple hours, he took me and my younger sister to Dave and Buster's. Well, me and my younger sister and his girlfriend. In fact, this actually plays a part in it, because I pointed out in the video that the music he was listening to actually was a parallel of the current situation. In fact, I'm actually remembering it now, because some of the lyrics was like, something, 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 a girl in the passenger seat. And that was actually what was happening in the moment. And I actually pointed that out, I think, in the description of the video. So, yeah, the music thing. Because like I said, splits in music, it's literally to, like, pretty much, I don't know, entice what's already in you, or even put something in you if it's not already there, but can be. Like, I mean, even when it comes to splits, a lot of the music entices, like, pride. Like, there's this one song, I can't remember who it's by, but I know there's this one girl who did, like, a remix, I guess I could say, of it. I can't remember the dude's name, but it's something like, I think it's called Unplayable or something like that. And in her remix, she was singing it, and it was a rap song, and it was something like this. You already know I'm unplayable. It be the bodies they fresh out the cage, the same nigger for minimum wage. They're trying to keep up, so they're stalking my page. They do what I say, they're trying to get saved. They line up for me like they copping the J's. I told them get right, start acting your age. Can't believe they tried it. Something, something you played. It's about pride, but also a God complex. And the thing is, with complex trauma MPDs, it's really easy to develop a God complex. In fact, my dad and my mom's boyfriend specifically believed that they were God. Which I was going to make a video about that too, because I recently came across videos of the Nature Boy dude, and I was like, dang, this dude talks and acts just like my dad and my mom's boyfriend. But it also made me think about, of course, the down low feminine thug persona thing. The Hotep thing I mentioned in the last video, with the BHI stuff and the spirits that people pick up from that. But, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, there's a video of a dude from like a couple years ago, because the boy got put in foster care and he got adopted by some Catholic priest people. But, anywho, his dad killed his baby sister, or, well, his older sister, something like that, who had, I don't know, like Down syndrome or something. And he killed his mom. He tried to stab the son to death, but the son lived. And the dude was his own defendant in court. And he obviously is very demon-possessed. But I remember, because when this came out, I was still doing the evidence channels. And I was like, he acts just like my abusers. But yeah, pretty much the music can also further a God complex. So the whole, they do what I say, they're stalking my page, they line up for me like they copping the J's. Wait. No, they do what I say, they're trying to get saved. That part, especially. But anywho, February 14th. So here's the song. That's a Big Pun remix. Cause, I don't know. I was brought up as a victim, said to be the killer, but if I was to die, it would be manslaughter. Could I make it clear? Man, I swear I'm not the killer. I'm a victim learning how to talk. From the start to end, all us real people walk the walk. They done marked me for death, but I don't even talk that east and west crap. They dropped their left wrath. It's not where I'm from, it's where I get. And I actually wanted to make a video about like different little signs that I would eventually run to the West Coast. In fact, I remember ever since I was like, I don't even know, a long time ago, elementary age, I would always say that I didn't really see myself going to Cali unless like it was to document something on like SRA Traf or something. Not that that only happens there, but like that's the hot spot. But I ended up going anyways, eventually, because laying low or just being homeless in the East Coast, especially the South, just wasn't it. And yeah, nowhere to shower, nowhere to get food, nothing. Like at 16 and 17, I was mostly living outside. Well, not mostly, I was living outside IHOP. And that's when all the bullcrap transpired, where the police made me go into that voodoo cult. And I was like, and then I said I was leaving. And the lady said, I'll drop you back off outside IHOP, but you better not come back and steal my TV. I keep forgetting to re-upload the part 2. Because I think this happened on like the part 3 or 4 channel. But I still have the part 1 re-upload, and I swear that was a human heart in one of those pictures, but I forgot to talk about some of the main points actually. So, through different points in my life, I had to start going by different names before now, since the whole escaping thing and then not wanting people to like Google me and stuff. So now I still have to go by like a lot of different names, but at other points in times, I did like start splitting and going by different names. That's something that I mentioned in I don't even know what video. Something that I noticed in the Cash for Kids system is that a lot of people actually go by a lot of different names. And this can even bleed into the whole thing of like becoming transgender due to like splits, different spirits. It doesn't even have to be like sexual trauma. Just having either multiple personalities or like a lot of demons living in you that want to like live their life and their truth. That can even cause that. So like somebody's name would be, I don't know, Frederick, and they'd go by Valentine or something like that. Stuff like that. And like people not wanting to be called by the name that their abusers gave them. So I saw this a lot in the Cash for Kids system. And people would go by a lot of different names, and yeah, so what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so at one point I went by Anna for a while. I don't remember much about that. I think the first time I started going by Ann Aries, which was supposed to be like the opposite of me that would actually defend myself, it was because I started defending myself a little from my dad. This was when I was 8, but I eventually started going by Ann Aries again for a certain point in time when I was, I guess, like 11 or something. Or either 12, one of those, because this was like during those 3 months of 6th grade, around the gym thing, or the gym teacher situation anyways. Because I got into a fight and I defended myself for the first time. And then I was like, so I should start defending myself when my mom and her boyfriend jumped me. Because actually, defending myself feels better than letting people beat me up. But I used to like have the mindset that too many people in society have these days, that you should just let people do whatever they want to you and whoever else. So at that point in time, I wouldn't defend myself, so I'd have to split in other personalities that would defend myself, because I believe that fighting people was like a bad thing. In fact, I remember back when I was starting to not lie to myself anymore again, because I was let off the drugs and I had woke up from the coma. I found a video of a lady talking about her trauma and her abuse, and she was like, I used to believe that if I ever did fight somebody, I would end up hurting them really badly because I would let out all my anger on them for different things that happened to me. And I used to have that mindset too, but honestly, I don't even know how true that is. I mean, maybe then, but now definitely not, because I'm not like that healthy anymore and I really don't have the ability to fight somebody. But then I still don't even really know. But it's like something that people often feel. They'll be like, with all the stuff that happened to me, if I did fight somebody, I would probably hurt them really badly. But a lot of people do end up doing that, though. And of course, when you're younger, you get a life sentence for any and everything, or you get like a really crazy sentence for stupid stuff. So, but yeah, I remember at one point I went by Zosinor, and that actually came from when I was in this one Cash for Kids system placement, and there was a boy in there who went by Zanasio, and he liked XXX and I don't know if he liked Juice WRLD or not. I can't really remember. Juice WRLD cannot rap though. And of course, he was forced on Xanax and he was addicted to the Xanax, which is done by design. And he also was depressed because he, of course, got the type 2 diabetes / metabolic syndrome weight. And a lot of people end up with a lot of trauma from becoming morbidly obese and chronically ill from the drugs. And then getting bullied for being obese. But I talk about that in the psychotropic / antipsychotic drug truth playlist. One of those videos, or a couple of them I do. But yeah, so I was like, honestly, that sounds pretty cool. So eventually I started going by Zostanor, but then I started going by Zenaries, and then, in fact, I remember somebody actually thought that my name was Zostanor. I could wish, but anywho, so at 14, I think I was calling this Jacqueline Jeffers Powers. So I was having all types of dreams about this girl. Now I know what this is about. But yeah, so I was having dreams that like I had to beat her up. She was fake. She was talking junk about me to other people on the phone, all types of stuff, and I was still talking to her. But oh yeah, I know what I forgot to mention. So something that drugs commonly do is like they'll give you bursts of creativity. This was happening all the time from me being on the drugs at this point in time. And I also think that's another reason why I was like making these different little songs that like right then and there. But this was a remix of what was it called? I think Rockstar maybe? Or at least to a certain extent it is. Well, this was a little before I blocked everybody and started focusing on saving my life and getting out the situation. Which I'm going to forever be glad that I did that. And I mean, at the end of the day, still it's not anybody else's fault. And I was talking to a lot of people that I shouldn't have been anyways that never did like me, so it's whatever. But anywho, Jacqueline Jeffers Powers. You can cross me once, but you can't cross me again. Not going to be singing for real. Load the barrel, let the bullets take off in the wind. I guess you don't like me, but you like to play pretend. But we're supposed to stand together. You're supposed to be my friend. If you say you want to fight, then I guess that'll be your end. And if they say why she ain't breathing, I'll say 'cause she likes to play pretend. But if I was to end your life, then I guess that'll be a sin. 'Cause at the end of the day, only God can get revenge. If I let all of my anger, I would purge until I binge. Where am I? The sedatives in this syringe will blow your mind and make you cringe. You're carried by 6 down under 10. See my cases as they pin. Watch live as I wait for my end. Go to trial, my fate begins. 16 on death row takes the win. This might have been a rewrite though, but I don't know, because I rewrote it a couple times. The electric chair strikes again. Watch them shock me as I grin. Change of heart flips and I spin. Should I repeat it up to then? I also think that kind of like the 12 on death row song, if I even have like time to throw that in here. That part was also kind of like based off of The Last Kings, which is like a remix type thing with like Eminem and like a fake Tupac dude. So, because my dad used to listen to that every day, unfortunately. So, I think that's where the 16 on death row comes from. But I remember when I first rewrote this, I had lost the paper. I dropped it somewhere, so. Where was I? You can cross me once, but you can't cross me again. They strap me down, and the shocks will charge me to my end. We're now both in a place of no ascend. To my funeral, no one attends. The revenge of a barbarian. This is not humanitarian. Who dares to cross me again? I think she was ghosting me. I think that's what happened. And this was one of my freestyles while being ghosted. This was about my old abusive friend, quote unquote, Addie. And that was man, I'm not even gonna lie though. I really feel like, I mean, I'm not saying that I was all that, but like, as much as people talk about how bad dating is, I really feel like friendships, like that's where, I don't know, the hell begins. This was a remix too from a meme I heard, which I'll put that video in the description. It was like a funny clip, or it was supposed to be funny, but apparently it was based off of Quando Rondo, but at the time I didn't know who that was. But I did like the little meme thing, so I'm not gonna tell the world about you just so I can look goofy. What the heck I look like to you? You're trying to make me look stupid. Everybody knows that you talk all the talk but can't prove it. But if it ever comes to you, then you know I would choose it. When you left me all alone, you know I did lose it. But the way you treat me is totally ruthless. And for the ones that are so fake, I call that 100 cap truthless. But if our relationship rebuilds, I call that number 2 blueprint. Leave all old footprints behind and turn them into shoe prints. I had to teach myself what love was. I didn't even have 2 hints. But the way people will treat you don't even make no sense. I had to squeeze through a fence, and that left me with new hints, because I remember that whole little situation. Because I used self-defense and got locked up for offense. Every time I got set free, even the ground gave me suspense. Everybody looks at me but forgets the true suspects. Swept what they do under the rug and made me the number 1 reject. The Mass Effect makes me wish for my sunset. I wrote that at 14 too, but this one was at like 15. This was a 7 a.m. September 28th Tuesday one, looking in the mirror. I got banned for saying destroy all psychiatrists. I'm grabbing all appliances. Wrote my condolence to my compliances. So my reply was my alliances. I don't care what science says. I was taught to only pay attention to what Simon says. I fought the lies that we all bought. That's what defiance is. I set fire to the base of pseudosciences. Guidance is what we rely on. Silence can ply for too long. Rides are good but too strong. They won't last for too long because the population goes on. I stated facts, now go on, because I don't care what science says. I was taught to only pay attention to what Simon says. I fought the lies that we all bought. That's what defiance is. Oh yeah, I wrote this to the Last King's beat too, and this was also a remix. And I was still 14, I'm pretty sure. Because I haven't wrote anything in a long time, but that's kind of the point, which is that I only write when I'm either mad or sad, and it has to be like some splitting type stuff going on. But I really haven't found what I'm looking for. But I did remove a lot of stuff from here, like throw a lot of things away, luckily. Because I remember there was this one point in time where like Border Patrol went through this, and they were like looking for something to charge me for. And I was like, dang, I'm glad I removed some of the worst, crazier stuff, because what's already left in here is bad enough. But, anywho, City Records, I'm 5 hours away from the towers. You cowards mess with the wrong building. You meant to hit ours. Better evacuate. You're now about to witness the power. There's nothing spookier than the urban legend nuclear shower. Watch the bombs drop from the sky as the city's devoured. My name goes down in history and forever floats through your browsers. It's not that it's unexpected. It's just that you all are doubters. It's what turned me to a downer, which made a nation of powders. I throw you all in the stovetop and then stir you up like chowder. Man, the world is too crowded. Said the elites, you're astounded, 'cause your mind's not fully grounded. Hands up, I'm fully surrounded. My face was like the doors, it was pounded. They took their shackles for granted. I have them stone cold like granite. Every blow makes the world panic. Watch them drown in their emotions, Titanic. You can admit it, you're frantic. Out of your ears you hear static. May I remind you my habit had ran away 'cause I stabbed it. I assure you I tried to grab it. It hopped out of my arms like a rabbit, but it was fully rabid. It wasn't safe for me, have it. My behavior's problematic, but I assure you it's 'cause I have a story that's tragic. I'm not the one for excuses, but the one with the blueprint. I don't want to leave you all clueless. I can't really see this through like the marker that's bleeding through, but It's definitely missing something though, because I definitely remember I Warned You. Oh no, because I did an add-on for when I actually like uploaded the song. So I added on another part, and it was like a I Warned You years prior exclusive. No, I left the number 2 blueprint. I warned you years prior exclusive because I didn't want to leave you all clueless, something like that. So when I woke up out the coma in 2020 or whatever, I threw on another part to the beginning of the song that I made at 12, which was 12 on Death Row / Tragic Story. That's when I threw on the I said I can't sleep at night. I said I'm all alone. They said you gotta be alone to fight. I said they can't be true. And then they told me, well, that's quite what's right. Someone has to pay the price, so I'll be a living sacrifice without even thinking twice. Tell me, can you see the light? And I threw that on to the beginning of I don't even know where the tragic story is actually. It should be in here, but I still haven't found it. This is already pretty long though, so I'll just put it in the description. Because I have a video with that. At 15, I made the Falling Slowly song. This was actually one of my favorite ones I had made in a long time. Because I remember I kept listening to the instrumental. And then I remember I was like, I have to write something. And this was a good point in time of, I guess, me splitting. And I had snuck and recorded it eventually, but I was in the car with my sister's boyfriend. He had got me some Chick-fil-A. And that's when it came to me, and I was like, and the world's falling slowly. Don't let it reach the end before you hold me. And then I wrote the rest like on the bus. Because I was in school for a good little 3 months again. Right before my mom got me put in the Jim Crow self-confined placement. And this was the second time I was supposed to go to 9th grade. So, I mean, I guess it was really a Marshall Mathers type situation. But, anywho. And the world's falling slowly. Don't let it reach the end for you hold me. And they left me so lonely. I feel rejected, no one condones me. Man, I just wish they never had known me. Matter of fact, I don't even know me. And the world's falling slowly. Don't let us reach the end for you guide me. All they do is look at the outside. I need someone who looks deep inside me. Even when no one else would abide thee. You were the one who stood right beside me. And like, I thought it was like gospel or whatever, but somebody told me it was depressing techno, so I don't know. Then I made this remix when this lady was making me mad. I made the song at 14, but I made this really good remix, I feel, when I met this Let Me Help You Lunatic lady named Soul, and we would go to mic drops together, but that's not when I wrote this. I wrote this when I was in her car, and she was like, really making me mad. And then I was like originally it was supposed to be about like I don't know, somebody sending like a letter in the mail, because like the songs are also written based off of Maladaptive Daydreams as well. So that was the original song, but then when I remixed it, it was about like how the pastors have been Freemasons, obviously, because the Freemason Luciferians are under the pagan Roman Catholic Church, but also how they're in the Black Boule, and they like get paid to not tell true Yashriel certain things. So that's like what I was mainly thinking about. At least after I like originally started freestyling, because originally like when the words came to me, I wasn't thinking about like any of that really. I was just mad. Because originally I just had like the same Negroes you think you're cool with, they're all in the boule they're cool with, they're laughing, they're lying, they're plotting their spine, then they leave you dead on the pulpit. But then I also had the same Negroes you think you're cool with the FBI smuggling cool bricks, they're whipping, they're bagging, they're scaling and selling, then they leave you dead on the pulpit. and that's about like the FBI putting drugs in the quote-unquote black community and different things like that. But yeah, it's about Willie Lynch syndrome house niggers, to make a long story short. But yeah, I would definitely say though, one of the big things with like BPD is making all these like abandonment, rejection, broke my heart, who did what type songs. So pretty much XXX and Juice WRLD type stuff. And Rod Wave. But honestly, I could almost say Kevin Gates, because like one of the one songs I really do remember is the whole "You say you love me, yet you say you love me, yet I know I'm not the only one." Honestly though, that makes you think about this post I seen on Instagram in like 2019, and they were like, "I want my own boyfriend," and sounds like they've been sharing people for a long time. But honestly, that song is pretty crazy because it sounds like it's really telling on yourself. Because now to think about it, he was like, "You say you love me, yet you say you love me, yet I know I'm not the only one. As long as we can overcome something, 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 something. I killed that nigga for my dog, and now you owe me one." And it's like, wait a minute, hold up. And it's like, actually, I remember when like I don't even think it was TikTok. Maybe it was Musically, or what was that, Dub Smash, that kind of made the whole, what was it, Turn Around in That Foreign Love, whatever, however it went, that song go viral. But I always felt like that was about sex rituals though, because like I remember the whole thing where he's talking about some being in bed with somebody and surrounded by the angels. And obviously he's talking about fallen angels. And I was just like, yeah, this sounds like some sex ritual type stuff. In fact, I remember when I was still in my emotional dump, trauma dump with random people phase, and I met this one girl on IG, and she was like meeting chomos off Facebook. And honestly, I've never really heard of that before. Like usually it's like Tinder or like Craigslist. Well, nah, Craigslist will meet a sex trafficker. But like what was it, Reddit, stuff like that. But like Facebook. But anywho, I remember like, in fact, I might have mentioned her before. This was the same girl that told me that she thought she had a girlfriend, but then eventually she found out that it was her cousin and that they were playing with her. But yeah, she lived in South Carolina. She had like a lot of little, I mean, common generational cousin type bullcrap going on. But anywho, she of course liked Kevin Gates, and I remember she was telling me about some dude she was dating, quote unquote, that was like 27. And mind you, she was like, I think she was 14 too, or maybe she was younger than me. And she was like, he played with my heart and he broke my heart and he broke up with me because he said I'm childish. And I was like, what in the world? I was like, he broke up with you. What does he expect? And then she would tell me that her dad was like a millionaire, supposedly, but she lived in the hood. But her dad was a millionaire and he owned a nightclub. And she was like, my stepmom or my dad's ex-girlfriend is jealous and she's always reporting us to CPS. And she's always saying that we're getting molested. And I was like, is she really jealous? Because a lot of the stuff that you tell me, that's what it kind of sounds like. Like, even if not by relatives, I mean, you're obviously being neglected enough to be, like, finding chomos on Facebook. And she was like, well. But yeah, I wanted to make a video, too, about, like, the whole seeking out your parents and different people. I mentioned the clairvoyance thing. I don't even know what video that was, but I mentioned how, I think maybe that was the groomers and Marine Kingdom agents, but I feel like it was another video too, maybe in like the Weapons of the New World Order video where I talk about my dad's Facebook post pretty much. And how like you can identify the similarities in yourself and like even just different trauma symptoms in people, even like through posts they make, even if you never see their face or anything. And I was gonna pretty much talk about how I always end up like, I don't know, I always get around like molested people. Okay, let me rephrase that. Not even in like a sexual way, but I'm always attracted to molested people, male and female, but especially females. Like the types that say that they're lesbians, but they're always dating older boys, or straight up pedophiles. And due to their trauma symptoms and their even current abuse situations. And like they're addicted to it because one, the neglect, 2, the self-esteem issues. 3, just the sexual addiction and paraphilias. And I want to help them and I want to talk them out of it, but there's nothing I could do because overall they're addicted to it. And I'm not trying to victim blame, but I'm just saying it's so I've always been attracted to those types of people that you commonly can't really say anything to about anything. Like, they have certain points where their trauma is worse and their BPD type stuff is worse, so they'll flip out and split more and even threaten me and talk junk to me. And I'm always attracted to those types. And it's friendships or I guess acquaintanceships, because I don't know. After the whole thing at 14, I really didn't like calling people friends anymore, so really even before that. But yeah, that's really common. And that and people that lie about their age. I've had a lot of people that I thought I was something like a friend to lie to me and tell me that they're older than they really are. In fact, I've been meaning to make another video titled Never Trust a Dude Named Jay. Never. I learned that the hard way. No matter how old he tells you he is, he's probably about 11 or 12. And I'm not gonna lie though. But yeah, I want to make that video. I really feel like the situation was kind of funny, at least to me. I was gonna title it My Riri Moment. And then I remember my mom was like, I knew I shouldn't have told her. Luckily this wasn't during the bad part of my abuse, because if it was, she would have totally ran and told us to a psychiatrist, and I would have been locked up somewhere facing charges probably. But anyway, my mom was like, you were the leader of the playground or something like that. But the funny thing is, I was 14 at the time still, and the boy told me he was older than me. He told me he was 15, but eventually. But as a side note though, I don't listen to music, and I stopped a long time ago. I kind of never really did like it like that, but I guess when I was around people more, I had to listen to music pretty often because other people were. So sometimes I would. And I guess it could be a coping mechanism sometimes, but it's when you really stop listening to music, all of it, whatever, no matter what type it is, you get to see or realize more and more how crazy it all is. And as I always say, I started researching these different little industry occultic things around 6, more so 7. And I was learning about backmasking, sigil threads, of course the sacrifice rituals, the 27 Club, 444 hertz, frequency, mind control, different things like that, spell casting, witchcraft language, which word salad is actually a form of that. That's a side note. But it's when you really stop listening to all of it, you realize even more how crazy and stupid all of it is. And when I say all of it, I don't mean all the music, but definitely all the mainstream industry stuff, obviously. But like I said, music comes from a spiritual place always, so it could be bad no matter who wrote it and whether they're in the industry or not. So, I wrote this song to a beat from an unreleased song by a drill rapper, a song that I guess they're not gonna release anymore, but I like the beat though. Now, I am not gonna sing this, but anywho, I'm above as they're below, they show their wanting in my life. As they say that I deserve it, I say it doesn't make it right. They all claim that we're forever, it won't last until the night. I don't want it picture perfect, I just want things to go right. This is one of those BPD type bull craps. So it's supposed to start off with please don't go. However do you break my heart? However do you split my mind? However do you break my soul? I know the end of me is your goal. And that you wish to take a toll, the universe collapse and fold as I leave them all perplexed. You know you tried to leave me vexed. I tell them all I'm reaching X. Chained alone in solitude. Draining drugs my only food. Her response, you should have sued. Cult we call society, left for my sobriety. In the end, we all will see. No, this is actually a recent remix. No, because this says 1278. Maybe I'm thinking about something else. In the end, we all will see. With you till the break of time. If it was you, would you be fine? I see you from a broken heart. Please don't go. That's supposed to be in there somewhere. But I'm confused though, because I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be another part, because I remember the beat. Because I remember when I found the beats for a couple of these songs at 14, that's when I wrote them. But I remember I eventually had a dream with the beat in the background, and that's when I got more lyrics for the song, but not those lyrics. Because I mentioned this somewhere, but I don't remember the video. Because it was like, in the dream, it was like 2450, 30, wait, no. 2450, 3450, I'ma have to run before the choppers come get me. Spraying out this heat, letting out my energy. Sometimes I feel like everyone in the world, they want to finish me. That's what came to me in the dream, over the beat. And then I was supposed to like throw in some other stuff. Because this was, what I just read was more recent, but that's not the original I'm looking for. But I made it through it away, to be honest. But I definitely remember the whole, however do you break my heart, however you break my soul, however, because that was original, but then I rewrote it. So I don't know. I remember when I wrote this to the Polazine beat. This was when I was, I guess, 16. They broke my heart, so I wrote 1,000 songs. You'll break my mind, but you'll never steal my soul. What must I do? The cries of 1,000 souls. Oh dear God, why won't you take me home? What must I do? I'll write 1,000 songs. What can I do? The cries of 1,000 souls. Oh dear God, why did they break my heart? They broke my heart, so I wrote 1,000 songs. Break your mind until you don't have a soul. I can't lose, I can't tell them, I can't let them take a toll. What is this? The cries of 1,000 souls. Oh dear God, why won't you take me home? But yeah. This was actually written to like some Russian song about some TV show about some people with like some Russian people, some mobsters. And it was like I think it's called Polazine. But I think maybe the English translation is Step on the Go Yard, whatever that means. And it's Russian. But yeah, if I could sing it, it would sound a little different. But I guess, I don't know, it's whatever. But yeah, actually I wrote Tragic Story at like more so 13. But yeah, I threw away a lot of stuff, so this is mostly what I have left. In fact, one of the things that I threw away that had a lot of marker bleeding through and I couldn't really see was actually a poem about splits. But not from my perspective, it was supposed to be about somebody else. But I definitely wrote that like around, probably before 10. So the only thing I really remember is like, it was supposed to be about, what was it? A dude talking to somebody or going to therapy, or what people claim therapy is like. And it was like, so what's going on with you today, sir? And then the other person was like, I can't feel the pain. And then the therapist or whatever was like, what is the pain? And then they were like, the pain, sir, is the man in my brain, and something, 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 something. Can't really remember the rest of that. So that was actually about splits, actually.